trying to do is make sure that we can bring predictability, reliability, safety to the movement of CO2. And so by combining with CMG, with PACE CCS and ABB, we're bringing three leaders together to take it from point of emittance through point of injection and being able to model it all the way along.
Yeah, the significance here is that in this energy transitionary world we're currently living in, is trying to find the best solutions. How does this serve as pretty much the best solution in what is an environment that is highly scrutinized, I suppose, at this time for making the best decisions, or not in some industries?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, our view is that if we can capture 50% of the CO2 that's happening in industrial processes, and if we can store that, we're lowering the overall CO2 footprint. So we're putting less emissions into the sky. Our motto at ABB is certainly net additions with lower emissions. And by bringing the technology together, the leaders in these spaces together, we think that we can do that and have an impact.
You capture 50% of the emissions. What happens to the other 50%? Because that's not going to get us to net zero.
No, it doesn't get us all the way to net zero, but it's part of the process. If we can lower the emissions of the new assets and new infrastructure that we're putting out into the world, at the same time bring on these clean technologies, green hydrogen, small modular nuclear, whatever the technologies may be, the net additions come in with low or no emissions, and then what we're doing to clean up the existing ones. We're working on an LNG project in the U.S. that's taking away 90% of the emissions that it would have had if it were built 5 years ago.
So as we look at the industry around carbon capture and storage, how far progressed do you think it is at this point?
Yeah, we're still early in the cycle, so we're still coming up the curve. You're seeing 75% plus of the projects between the UK, North Sea, North America, of where there's available gas, where there's great storage facilities underground, infrastructure that exists and these sort of things. So we're still coming up the curve, but I think we're going to come up that curve pretty fast. I mean, carbon capture, we certainly believe is part of the equation in order to lower the footprint.
Just looking at some of the plans from some of the big energy providers, just as a starting point, there is a feeling, I think if you look at what they initially were fleshing out in terms of going down the renewables path versus now staying with traditional oil and gas initiatives, that maybe they're hoping the technology we're talking about here will do a lot of the heavy lifting for them. They won't have to entirely re-gear businesses towards renewables. Is the technology stopping progress towards other green technology because there is a hope we could just decarbonize everything?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's an and equation, not an or equation. So you have to progress the renewables, you have to progress the clean energy while at the same time cleaning up the fossil fuel side. That's what technology is going to be an enabler for, is to help us get up those curves faster.
You spoke about your LNG project out in the US, really cutting out 90% of pretty much on that carbon capture. How soon till this project gets to that 90%? I mean, you spoke about it being in the process, because we have that other 50% that isn't necessarily part of this. How soon till you get there?
Yeah, I think if you look out to 2030, the plans are very aggressive for carbon capture to be playing a major role for clean energies, that some of the cost curves to be coming down in the 30, 40, 50% range from where they are now. And so, you know, I think our goal, or the goal of the industry, is to have a big impact on this by 2030.
Yeah, I mean, we head to COP very soon, and I mean, it's very interesting that we have this every year, and it feels as though rolling targets just keep on rolling.
Right.
How do we get to these targets with clear measures in sight, clear deadlines, no changes to those deadlines, hopefully, or as much as we've seen of late? How do we do that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a silver bullet or the key answer to get there by a certain time. It's continuous effort. It's collaboration across the industry. It's governments being involved with carrots and sticks in order to drive the right behaviors across free markets. And so I think it's all these things. And then from an ABB standpoint, we're trying to make sure that we have technology as an enabler, that's not the choke point for the things to advance.